Today, Salwa, or Salwa as we called her in our family, would have celebrated her 52nd birthday. She was a lawyer and a political activist, but she was also a mother, a wife, a daughter, and a sister. And to me, she was an aunt, a friend, and a hero. Salwa was full of joy and full of love. Love for life, love for her family, and love for her country. I remember her courage, her boldness, and her determination. She radiated hope and passion, and she gave me and countless others the strength to fight for a Libya that we'd in the past not even dared to imagine. I think back to the early days of the Libyan revolution in February 2011. 4 years ago, I was standing outside of my law school's library back in London, and I was on the phone with my aunt Salwa. That morning, she, along with a few of her colleagues, her husband Isam, and my other aunt Iman, stood outside of Benghazi's courthouse, demanding liberty, a constitution, and respect for human rights. Speaking to her, I could hear the chants of thousands of other Libyans who had, like Salwa and her colleagues, taken to the streets in her home city of Benghazi that fateful day. It was electrifying. I was scared for my aunt's safety, fearing the regime's response to their demands for dignity and freedom and their revolt, which ultimately led to the downfall of the Gaddafi regime. But my aunt knew then that there was no going back. Their actions had triggered a movement far greater than the small group of protesters protesting that day, and she felt a responsibility towards those that sacrificed their lives for the ideals that she too believed in. After the revolution successfully ousted the regime, my aunt worked relentlessly for a vision of a peaceful, tolerant, and democratic Libya. She wanted the new Libya to represent all Libyans, Libyans from all walks of life, whom she met in cities, towns, and villages as she traveled all across the country, working on building a national consensus and listening to their dreams and aspirations. Last summer, on election day, my father met with her in Tripoli as she decided to fly back to Benghazi to cast her vote. He was afraid for her, and he asked her to reconsider, but she was adamant. Salwa responded as she always did. She had a mission, which she needed to pursue to the end, whatever the consequences may be, and she drew comfort only from the fact that her children were outside of Libya and out of harm's way. So that day, after casting her vote, Salwa urged her fellow Libyans on TV to go out and vote before the polls closed. She told her countrymen and countrywomen that it didn't matter which candidate they chose or which party they voted for. What mattered, she said, was simply that they exercised their right to vote. A few hours later, gunmen assassinated my aunt Salwa in her home. Her husband Isam, who was with her, was kidnapped. And 10 months later, we still don't know where he is or whether he's even alive.
It was a shock for the whole society, for whole Benghazi, for whole Libya. It was like an earthquake.
It was a mix of so many different feelings: shock, sadness, anger.
Usually in Libya we have it segregated men go to the burial ceremony. A group of women, including me and my daughter and my aunts, we went to the highway. It was spontaneous.
And we started screaming. It was like another small revolution just for my aunt on that street.
We were saying, wake up, where are you men, where are you? The society. Salwa Bugaighis was killed.
What Libya lost is one of her great patriotic soldiers, encouraging others to go out and speak loud and never be afraid.
My aunt's last act of courage ended up in her giving her life for her country, for Libya. She was killed by those who did not wish to see Libya prosper, those who did not want democracy, and those who do not want to see strong women bring about positive change. She was strong and powerful not only because she had a vision, but also because she inspired and mobilized, and because she awakened the most beautiful aspirations in all of us. And that is why her message and her voice will endure.